AITA for making a teacher change my son's grade? At my son's school, parents can log into the school website and see grades. I saw my son had a 0 on an assignment and confronted him. He didn't want to tell me why he had a 0, but I insisted. He admitted the assignment was a family tree he was supposed to present to the class but refused to. He told me he asked his teacher if he could do his tree on someone else, like a historical figure. The teacher said no, that most historical figures and celebrities have family trees online he would be able to copy. My son did the tree for our family, but he refused to present it. He emailed the tree to his teacher instead. However, the teacher said the assignment was to make and present a tree, and her grading rubric was based on the presentation. So if he didn't present, he would get a 0. I was pretty upset. You expect your kids to not always be upfront with you. But why on earth didn't this teacher contact me when she realized this assignment was problematic for him? And why didn't she grade his work? Why is the presentation 100% of the grade? I would think a complete tree, if done correctly, is at least worth a C. I contacted the principal to explain my concerns and ask for a meeting. I had the meeting with the principal, teacher and guidance counselor. The teacher explained her reasoning, and I said that my son's embarrassment over some of his family members shouldn't impact his grade. He shouldn't have to choose between exposing himself to his peers and a poor grade. The principal asked to see the tree my son emailed to the teacher as well as the grading rubric. The principal said she didn't like the assignment and told the teacher to reformat it if she wanted to use it in future years. She also said she would grade the tree and have the assignment grade changed. The teacher protested, asking what the issue is with her assignment. The principal said they would talk about it after I left. As I was leaving, the teacher asked me to contact her directly in the future when I have a concern. I explained that I didn't feel comfortable doing so because of her actions and failure to communicate with me when the problem first arose. She tried to blame my son, but I pointed out that she is the professional and he is 11. She said I needed to teach my son accountability and not try to blame everyone else when there's a problem. I was mad, so I left before I could say something mean. I know she thinks I'm an asshole because now her assignment has to change, but I feel she brought this on herself. NTA. My son has had this assignment twice now. Once in middle school and once in high school. And both times the assignment and rubric showed an understanding there are non-traditional families out there, and students who may not have access to family history. The fact that the teacher has gotten to 2022 without her assignment reflecting this means she's probably hurt quite a few students along the way. NTA. My knee-jerk reaction when it comes to parents pressuring teachers to change grades is that it's an move, but this isn't an entitled parent deciding that little Timmy should have a good grade whether he deserves it or not. This is an issue with a child having a problem with the content, and the teacher not even trying to work something out, bring up concerns to the parents. Totally different. Fuck family trees. As a former social worker in the foster care system, I am livid that these are still a routine assignment. They bring up so much trauma for so many people. And the fact that there was no wiggle room for him to present it in a different way when there was clearly an issue? You go, Mom. I'm on your side. NTA. NTA. How long has this person been a teacher? The lack of understanding and empathy is crazy. She outright refused to be accommodating. I agree. If she felt so strongly about it, she should have reached out to you. But also she shouldn't have felt so strongly about it anyway because there are so many reasons why that assignment could be difficult for a child and she should have anticipated that. Well, you surprised me when I heard that you had made a teacher change your son's grade. I expected this to be a story about how your son got a B+ on a term paper. And you, determined that your kid is going to Harvard, went into the classroom and intimidated the teacher into giving your son an A+. But this is not what I expected. I don't like the assignment. A student should not be required to divulge their family tree to the class. What about adopted kids who don't even know their biological parents? What if they're descended from slave owners? Or Nazis or something similarly shameful? I see nothing wrong with what you did, and I see the principal as having proffered a good solution. The teacher is entirely in the wrong. If there was a problem, she should have contacted you. Also, she seems to have a hard time dealing with correction, as the principal raised valid concerns about the nature of the assignment. You had a good response to her demand that you contact her, not the principal. When there's a problem, she didn't feel comfortable contacting you. So why should you have to contact her? NTA. ETA. The title is wrong. You didn't make the teacher change the grade. The principal volunteered to grade the assignment. NTA. Family trees are actually banned from hundreds of school programs now, with several schools and teachers coming up with other ways to discuss what heritage paths look like, including your suggestion of a famous person. Also, you're going to have a ton of issues with this teacher for the rest of the year because she obviously had it out for him, which I don't feel is the truth when parents say it 85% of the time. And then to come at you. It's obvious the principal is clear on who is on his staff. But your son is still going to be in that class every day. Can he be moved? NTA. How the teacher could not foresee this being both personal and problematic is wild to me. Example. The kid who doesn't know who his father is should have to divulge that to the entire class. There are so many scenarios in which the family structure could be a source of pain or embarrassment to a child, especially one in the tween spot of old enough to sort of understand and young enough not to really grasp nuances of certain family issues. Sounds like your kid did a good job trying to advocate for themselves. Offering an alternate assignment. Make sure you also congratulate them on that. NTA. Family trees are actually pretty insensitive. So many kids have non-nuclear families that are hard to explain, especially at such a young age. Some may have abusive family or may be adopted and not know a lot of their family, or they may be estranged from family. There's actually a lot reasons a kid may not be comfortable presenting this kind of project, and to refuse to have alternatives for those kids is pretty narrow-minded. NTA. And way to go for not only standing up for your son but also listening to him. So many parents I know would have flipped out at the sight of the zero and took the teacher's word for it, but you didn't. You let your kid explain why he didn't and trusted him. You have no clue how far that will go in your guys' relationship. My mom was like that, and it allowed me to be open and honest with her. NTA. If the presentation portion was 100% of the grade, why would it matter if he copied something from online? If it matters whether the tree is his own work, then why didn't he get credit for that part? You could have gone to the teacher first. But it sounds like your son was proactive in speaking up for himself and had already suggested all of the alternatives that would have been reasonable within the teacher's parameters, and the teacher shot them down. I doubt the teacher would have reacted any differently if you had made those suggestions, and you still would have ended up going to the principal. NTA. But you need to follow up with the principal. Her comments are a clear indicator that there will be retaliation to your son. I am an educator. I work with teachers. There are some truly wonderful ones. But there are some that shouldn't be allowed within sight of children. This assignment is terrible. No adult should be required to disclose personal familial information for a school assignment. She should have a Asked your son why he was uncomfortable with the assignment B. Pulled herself out of whatever rosy bubble she lives in to understand some people have issues in their family. C. Contacted you at the second request not to present the family tree. She has taken zero accountability for her poor judgment and questionable teaching skills. NTA. These types of assignments really do need to be treated with mindfulness. We're well aware by now how many children come from all types of backgrounds, and asking them to present personal information about themselves and their families without offering a reasonable alternative like doing a historical figures family tree as your son suggested is really not okay. Maybe some kids don't want to share that they're adopted, or that their brother is a known criminal, or they're not comfortable with having a blended family, or so many other possibilities. If your son wasn't 11 though, I would have suggested he make it all up and use the Targaryen family wreath as inspiration. NTA. If an 11Y, oh boy, is that embarrassed by his family tree, then clearly she should have looked into it. It's not about accountability. He did literally everything she asked except present his embarrassment to the class. She should have given him at least something for turning it in, but definitely not full credit. For everyone saying, YTA, or, go to the teacher next time, literally the teacher would have given her a hard time and probably would have denied her son a better grade. Teacher sounds like she needs to learn a little sympathy and not be such a hard ass on 11-year-olds. NTA. You made a decision to have a group discussion with the administrators and teacher. Probably not a poor decision given that the teacher was already defensive regarding the 0. There was obviously something wrong with the assignment. If the principal felt it needed to be handled differently. As for the people calling you an AH because you made them change his grade, that is not factual. You asked for a review of the assignment and the grade. You stated the reasons behind your child's unwillingness to participate in the presentation. It is the principal that made the teacher change the grade. You stood up for your kid. Good for you. You didn't teach him entitlement. You taught him conviction, and you taught him that you will have his back when he is right. NTA. I would absolutely hate to do a family tree for an assignment. That's like a teacher asking me to shame myself in front of the class. I'm glad the principal told her to reformat the assignment. NTA. You're awesome. You advocated not only for your child, but for any other child who may have trauma or privacy concerns regarding the family history. I was targeted and bullied once in a writing class as an adult because I refused to reveal personal information about my family. No one has the right to force me to talk about that. No one. NTA. And I agree that the correct response, at the very least, to seeing your son struggle would have been to reach out to you and let you know what was going on. Her lack of empathy and prioritizing being right do not paint her in a good light. Yeah, no, you are NTA at all. Family tree exercises still exist? I would think teachers would be mature enough to realize not everyone has a perfect family. Or a family at all. You emo handled it perfectly. The teacher telling you to not go through the principal, yet being aggressive instead of understanding shows she took no accountability for that. Just one of those people. Yeah, you probably should have contacted the teacher first. But given her attitude she showed later, it wouldn't have made a difference in hindsight. NTA. Ooh man, NGL. As someone whose mom and husband are both teachers, I was entirely prepared to give the opposite judgment based on the title. Family tree assignments are so problematic though. They can even be really harmful to kids if there's some sort of family trauma or cases of abuse or for any number of other reasons. And then forcing the kids to present those details to the whole class? Yeah, no. Even relatively common things like divorce can open a kid up to bullying. Teachers should know better. I think you handled the situation very well. AITA. Going over someone's head to their boss isn't the nicest way to deal with an issue. But in this case I think it was warranted. She brushed off your son's concerns and refused the very reasonable accommodation he asked for. That's worth taking to the principal in this case.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.